let's take a moment to talk about greatness, about legacy, about cinema that transcends time, space, and taste. No, I'm not talking about Citizen Kane. I'm not talking about, like, The Godfather or Schindler's List or any of those other films that your mum brings up to make it seem like she has a personality. No. Today, I'm talking about real cinematic achievement. Today, I'm talking about 13 Ghosts. Yes, that is a 1 instead of a T and a 3 instead of an E, because you know a piece of art is highbrow if it doesn't know how to spell its own title correctly. Now, some of you may be thinking, wait, wasn't that early 2000s horror movie with Shaggy and the guy from Monk in it? And yes it was. And how fucking dare you reduce it to that? This isn't just a haunted house movie. This is the haunted house movie. The alpha and omega of over-designed horror architecture. A movie so dedicated to its aesthetic that even the ghosts are wearing Halloween costumes. A movie that asks the bold, courageous question, what if we give each of these 13 ghosts a huge elaborate backstory and then never fucking explain any of it? And to that I say, well done, fantastic. Cinema is way too literal these days, especially horror films. We get spoon-fed exposition, motivation, plot, but 13 Ghosts, it doesn't care if you understand. It just wants you to feel. Specifically, it wants you to feel confused, aroused, and or slightly threatened. Anyway, spoilers ahead for a 24-year-old horror movie. If you clicked on this video at this length and didn't expect there to be at least some light spoilers for 13 Ghosts, then on your head be that, alright? But spoilers ahead, let's set the stage. It's 2001. A golden era for horror. If your idea of golden is new metal soundtracks and fluorescent lighting everywhere. The Ring hasn't happened yet, not the Western version. The Saw franchise is still just a twitch in its father's balls. And into this walks in 13 Ghosts, alright? The product of Dark Castle Entertainment. A studio that basically said, we're going to remake all of the old William Castle horror films from the 1950s, but we're going to make them horny and violent. Fucking pioneers. Pioneers these dudes were. Anyway, this 13 Ghosts is the kind of movie that can only happen with the involvement of cocaine. It has everything. Literally everything. A glass house designed by Satan himself. Latin spells carved into the walls. Matthew Lillard acting like someone told him that he's being chased by real-life ghosts and then forgot to tell him that he's in a movie. It's not just entertainment. It's an experience. It is a theme park ride with zero safety protocols that was designed by feel. Tony Shalhoub, yes, that Tony Shalhoub, the man who can play any ethnicity. He's playing a white man in this time, specifically a white widower. He's lost his home and his wife in a house fire. He and his children inherit. The estranged uncle that he's never really met dies, and he mysteriously inherits a satanic uncle, by the way, possibly satanic uncle, but he inherits this house, this haunted house from him, because the old haunted inheritance clause that we have all had to deal with at one point in time is really annoying. Anyway, the house, of course, turns out to be a mechanized ghost prison. Because of course it fucking is. Because why not? Also, it's got Shannon Elizabeth in it. She is the obligatory early 2000s 30-year-old teenage girl who exists solely to look vaguely distressed whilst having large breasts. There is also a child actor who just sort of walks around saying, "Where's Mom?" every fucking 5 minutes like he's a possessed NPC. And then there's a nanny character who is, I mean, she's there. She's in the movie, definitely. Her whole character development is black and sassy, pretty much. And she's very charismatic, but yeah, there's not much going on. She's basically just turned up. I don't even know if she would have had lines in the script. They just sort of went, go for it, just freeball it. Yeah, it's that sort of energy. And yet, in spite of all of this, in fact, probably because of all of this, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's beautiful. It is everything that's missing from modern horror. Where is the ambition gone? Where is the impractical, unsafe, impossibly large sets built entirely with frosted glass and blood magic? Where are the ghosts who look like extras from a Sleep Token video? Where is the soul? Where is the creativity? I'll tell you where it is. It's trapped inside 13 Ghosts. It's banging on those fucking glass walls, begging for a sequel that will never come. And I'm here to say, enough is fucking enough. It's time we recognise greatness when we see it. It's time we, as a society, admit that 13 Ghosts is not just a cult classic. It's not just a guilty pleasure. It is, without a shred of irony, the greatest horror movie ever made about a glass house that has 13 ghosts in it. Let's begin. To understand 13 Ghosts, you must first understand Dark Castle Entertainment, a production company that rose from the shadows of Hollywood in 1999 with the sole mission of answering one of cinema's most enduring and burning questions. What if, and stay with me here, what if we remade old horror movies? Dark Castle was the unholy brainchild of Robert Zemeckis. Yes, the Back to the Future Robert Zemeckis, Joel Silver, the guy behind The Matrix, and Gilbert Adler, who produced Demon Knight, by the way, which is fucking dynamite and you should watch it. Anyway, their goal? Remake the classic horror flicks of William Castle, the P.T. Barnum of 1950s horror, who used to... He would like electrocute audiences, like he would electrocute their chairs and he would drop skeletons down from the ceiling. Subtlety was not in this dude's vocabulary. Anyway, Dark Castle was born to carry on Castle's tradition of scaring people with as much volume, fog, flashing lights, all as much of that shit as was legally permitted. Their first offering was House on Haunted Hill, a film that I do fully intend to do a video on. Long story short, it made money, probably by accident, but they were encouraged by this, the fact that it made money, so they decided to tackle 13 Ghosts. Castle's 1960 original, which featured such groundbreaking technology as cardboard glasses and ghosts made of crusty sheets. In the original film, the audiences wore special Illusion O glasses because we hadn't yet discovered the third dimension. Through these magical, headache-inducing lenses, viewers could either see the ghosts or not. That was the whole fucking gimmick. The ghosts themselves were about as threatening as Jake Paul. And the idea for the glasses would be utilised in this remake that we're talking about. It would be transferred over to the characters. So now the characters need to wear special glasses in order to see the ghosts. Anyway, the 1961, a humble schlockfest, so it was. But it laid the groundwork for something far greater. Enter Steve Beck, a man with a dream made entirely of glass. Beck, a former visual effects director, he was like an art director, he worked on like The Abyss, Indiana Jones, he worked on it, The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, I thought I'd lost you, boy. The best one, in my opinion, hot take, but I thought I'd lost you, boy. Anyway, Because the next logical step after working on Indiana Jones is to fucking try and capture Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and scare him shitless, that's of course the next logical step. Now, Beck wasn't interested in remaking the 1960s, just bulldozing it into oblivion and building something completely fucking deranged in its place. The plot got a complete overhaul. Gone were the charming gimmicks and Scooby-Doo vibes. In came some industrial horror, tortured ghosts, and Scooby-Doo actors. Let's talk about the house. The star of the show. This house was built entirely of glass panels, inscribed with Latin spells. They're entrapment spells that contain the ghosts, but it's less a home and more of a death trap designed by the sort of person who gets banned from Pinterest. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, it's got like rotating gears, sliding walls, more structural hazards than a condemned amusement park. It's like if MC Escher had a head injury and then started working in real estate. Do you know what I mean? If MC Escher with a head. MCTE Escher. MCTE Escher. Excellent, Jim. Fucking well done. Anyway, the design was based on the idea of a machine for the containment and manipulation of spirits. Which sounds impressive until you remember that they made the walls out of glass. You know, the famously durable and safe material for containing angry dead people. Is it not? It's like building a fucking shark tank out of cling film. But the Latin spells, okay, the Latin spells, it all makes sense. It is very logical because they're contained by the Latin spells. Anyway, imagine how hard this fucking thing would have been to film in. Just take a minute to think about it. Think how hard it would be to block, like, where the actors have to go and to fucking where you're going to shoot from. Think of the glare. Think of the glare from the lights. Think of the smudges. Think of the smudges. Think of the reflections through the fucking thing. It is so impressive. It's such an impressive piece of filmmaking. The production team, including production designer Sean Hargreaves and makeup wizards at Spectral Motion and Thir13en Inc., they created a visual aesthetic that was genuinely striking. Each ghost, right, each of the 12 ghosts that are trapped, each of them has a unique look, a backstory, and unique trauma, none of which are explored in the fucking movie. We'll get to that. Let's talk about the cast first. Tony Shalhoub, the man of every ethnicity, he is fresh off Galaxy Quest and like Men in Black, and this is pre-Monk. He does bring a level of serious dramatic acting to it. It makes you wonder if he thought he was filming The Sixth Sense 2. The Sixth Sense 2. If he thought this was like a high art piece or something. Anyway, the chick from American Pie is in there as well. Presumably because it was 2001. Yeah, and every actress that featured in American Pie, I think, was contractually obligated to appear in at least 3 shitty horror movies after. But anyway, and Shaggy. Shaggy is there. God bless. Not that Shaggy. Not that Shaggy. That Shaggy. He's in there. He's not really acting in this movie. He's experiencing the movie. He is channeling something primal. Something unholy. He twitches. He flails. He's delivering his lines like someone is fucking electrocuting him mid-sentence. It is a thing of beauty to behold. Honestly, fucking Murray Abraham is in this movie. He's better known as F. Murray Abraham, but I have on good authority that the F stands for fucking. So fucking Murray Abraham, who has an actual Oscar. The dude has an Oscar. He signed on to play Cyrus Kritikos. A character who seems to have styled himself after like Liberace, Aleister Crowley, and Alan Sugar. The man plays it like he's in Hamlet. It's fucking iconic. So why did they make 13 Ghosts? Because the world needed it. Because someone looked at a ghost story from 1960 and said, I can do this. let's be honest, you didn't come to 13 Ghosts for the plot, or character development, or narrative cohesion. You came for the freak show. You came for the ghosts. And boy, this movie, it delivers. Spoiler alert, there are at least 12 of them in this movie. 12 fully costumed, aggressively themed latex and blood-soaked nightmares, ripped straight from your most stylish of nightmares. This is where the movie secretly shines, or rather, where it should have fucking shined if it had any interest in telling you what the fuck you were looking at. Enter the Black Zodiac, a fictional, cursed version of the traditional Zodiac that replaces boring concepts like Libra and Gemini with exciting alternatives like the Torso, or the Jackal, or the Hammer. Is this properly explained in the film? Of course it fucking isn't. You're expected to pick it up from like a 10-second monologue delivered while the walls are literally eating people. But let's not let context ruin the fun. Let's go ghost by ghost, right? We're gonna do it. The film won't fucking honour them, so I will, right? Let's go through them. The firstborn son. A little boy who is obsessed with cowboys and he gets an arrow shot through his head. Already off to a cheerful start. His ghost form is tiny, silent, like if Chucky was into roleplay and emotional neglect. Fun fact, this ghost doesn't actually harm anyone in the movie. He just stares at them menacingly, like a fucking Funko Pop. Anyway. The Torso. A gambler who crossed the mob and got chopped up for his troubles. He's just a wriggling, headless meat sack with limbs flopping around like expired calamari. He is easily one of the most unsettling ghosts, but you just get flashes of him. He moves like a fucking boneless chicken possessed by Red Bull. 10 out of 10. He's great, but you barely see him. The Bound Woman. A high school prom queen with commitment issues who got strangled by her jilted boyfriend. Her ghost mostly exists to walk around in a bloodied dress and pose like she's waiting to be shot for an emo album cover. Do you know what I mean? It's all about the aesthetic. Again, very underutilized. The Withered Lover. The rare, sympathetic ghost. It's actually Monk's dead wife, Jean, that I spoke about at the start. She was burned in the house fire. I definitely mentioned the house fire. She's here to provide emotional stakes, or at least what the movie would like us to believe is emotional stakes. She mostly just stands around again. This is a common theme for a lot of these ghosts. All they really do is stand there. She just stands there looking sad and glowing slightly like a fucking possessed Glade plugin. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. The Torn Prince. A 1950s baseball jock who died in a drag race gone wrong. A Grease ghost, think Grease, and in ghost form. He's got a fucking sick wound across his face and a fashion sense that was adopted by the cast of that first Suicide Squad film with Jared Leto. Anyway, think Hot Topic clearance rack, that sort of aesthetic. He carries a bat, because of course he fucking does, why wouldn't he? The Angry Princess. A naked, self-harming beauty queen with deep trauma and a penchant for butchering herself in the bathtub. She walks around stark naked with a butcher's knife. That's it. That's the character of the Angry Princess. She's one of the most iconic ghosts because, well, the movie is very committed to making sure that you remember her. Side note, her backstory is genuinely tragic. We'll She was a woman that was failed by the beauty industry. She was driven to madness by the unattainable standards of the beauty industry. But the film itself, again, is it's mostly just interested in zooming in on her side boob. The Pilgrimess. A colonial woman accused of witchcraft. She was tortured and imprisoned in a medieval stockade. She mostly just stands around in her pillory, glaring at people like a cursed substitute teacher. The Great Child and the Dire Mother. A grotesque, codependent mother-son duo. They look like they escaped from a fucking John Waters film. The movie, the mother is like tiny and shrieky. The son is a giant man baby in a nappy, a diaper, a nappy, covered in vomit. Just the dude is just covered in vomit. Horrifying? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely fucking yes. Drink it in. That is what peak cinema looks like, folks. The Hammer. A blacksmith wrongly accused of a crime who was lynched by a mob had spikes driven into his body, and now he walks around like he's auditioning for fucking Mortal Kombat. Possibly the coolest looking ghost in the lineup. His backstory is basically Candyman. The backstory of Candyman, and his visage, he cuts a visage that is basically like Pinhead. If Pinhead got put on a good cycle of testosterone replacement therapy and was like a regular guest on Joe Rogan, that's what the Hammer looks like. The Jackal. Arguably the fan favourite. A former mental patient with a metal cage on his head. Fingernails like he's wearing fucking Freddy Krueger's gloves, and a movement style. I was about to say he moves around the map like he's an enemy in a video game, but he moves around the house like a fucking hyperactive meth tornado. Do you know what I mean? He just launches himself at people, just fucking mental, like a fucking demon on a pogo stick. If the creepy chick from The Ring, Samara from The Ring, got hooked on methamphetamine and then had a baby with a rusty bear trap, the resultant offspring would be this dude. The Juggernaut. The first ghost scene. The final ghost captured. A serial killer who worked at a junkyard and ripped people limb from limb. He is like the final boss in a Souls game. He breaks Shaggy's back. He breaks Shaggy's back like a Kit Kat, and it's the dude has no chill. This Juggernaut has no chill. The Broken Heart, aka Monk. Yeah, the twist. The 13th ghost was inside us all along. Specifically, it was inside Monk, who apparently is the willing sacrifice that is needed to complete the machine. How he is willing when he didn't agree to it, but he was merely manipulated, conned, and coerced into it. Don't ask questions. I get. Who cares? Who fucking cares? This isn't Inception. Like, calm down. Sit down. Let's talk about missed opportunities. The movie barely gives us time with these ghosts, as I touched on. Most of them show up, wave, scream, and disappear. But the fucking potential. The DVD extras, this is like my favourite DVD extras ever, is 13 Ghosts. The DVD and fan-made Wikipedia, the fan-made wikis go into such extensive detail about these tragic backstories, but the DVD extras has like the canon. The fans have essentially created an entire universe, because the film couldn't be fucking bothered to give us more than some creepy flashbacks and a groan, but the DVD extras had the fucking lore in there. Anyway, the Black Zodiac is a fucking amazing concept. 13 ghosts, each cursed into unlife by some brutally specific trauma, trapped in a hellish machine designed to open the eye of hell. Or whatever. I'm sure that's what it was. Who fucking cares what happens before the the walls start coming down and the floor starts exploding. It's so exciting. This could have been the Avengers of supernatural horror, but instead it's the Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I fucking love it. Every ghost is a masterclass in over-designed horror costume work. You may not know who they are, but by fucking God you will remember what they look like. They don't haunt the movie, they are the movie. Them and Shaggy, but they are the fucking movie. Without them, this is literally just a sad widower running around a house with too many windows as Shaggy fucking tweaks out on meth around him. Shaggy from Scooby-Doo tweaks out on meth and runs around some corridors. Give them their due. Give these fucking ghosts their due. Or at the very least, give them a fucking spin-off. I want The Jackal Begins by next Halloween. This leads us to betrayal. Because when 13 Ghosts was unleashed upon the world on the 26th of October 2001, critics, they didn't just pan it, they treated it like it had personally pissed on their grandmother's face. The film currently boasts a Rotten Tomatoes score of 19%, which is frankly fucking disgusting. A true injustice, a cinematic hate crime. Critics dismissed it as style over substance, which is fucking rich considering that most movies these days are just blue filters and monologues about childhood trauma set to violin music. Roger Ebert, rest his soul, gave it 1.5 stars. He said that the screenplay has been assembled out of the usual ingredients, and that the characters talk in a kind of utilitarian shorthand that describes their functions instead of bringing them to life. Okay, Roger Ebert, yep, I think you are one of the best movie reviewers of all time, as do most people. That's fair, what you said is fair, but tell me, Roger, did the film also have a naked ghost lady stabbing herself in the shower while blood drips around and Shaggy runs around in methamphetamine? Yes, it did. Then shut the fuck up and take a seat. Audiences weren't much kinder. Though to be fair, most were probably expecting a regular haunted house movie, and instead they got the Da Vinci Code meets Hellraiser meets Escape Room on Red Bull. The tone, the pacing, the lack of exposition, all of it was just bewildering for anyone trying to apply logic. Rookie mistake, by the way, logic does not belong here. Leave logic at the door. 13 Ghosts is not a film that you understand. It is a film you experience. Financially, it wasn't exactly a flop, which makes the lack of sequel even more unforgivable. The budget was reportedly $42 million. And it made $68.5 million worldwide. That's not including DVDs and like licensing and stuff like that. I mean, it's not blockbuster money, but surely enough that any other studio would have immediately greenlit Thir13en Ghosts. Do you know what I mean? Thir13en Ghosts. Yeah. No, but Warner Brothers said fuck that. Now, do you know what you'll get instead? Another Annabelle movie. Meanwhile, 13 Ghosts was quietly shuffled into the vault of cult curiosity. No franchise, no expanded universe, not even a fucking trashy prequel, nothing, just silence. The most ambitious collection of spirits this side of Poltergeist, and they were left to rot. And what did we get in their wake? Fucking 2 nuns. Ouija, Origin of Evil. The Bye Bye Man. We live in a fucking cinematic graveyard littered with soulless PG-13 horror films, and the one that was brave enough to be weird, chaotic, and horny for ghosts got left behind. It doesn't help that the film's marketing also completely missed the point. The trailer leaned into the spooky haunted house cliche, which is like trying to sell Mad Max Fury Road as a cozy road trip movie. The visuals were spectacular, sure, but the tone, the vibe, totally off. There was no indication that the movie you were going in to see was about a machine powered by souls designed to open the very eye of hell. And frankly, whether it's a spoiler or not, if you have a movie with a machine that is designed to open the very eye of hell, and you don't put that in your trailer, what the fuck are you even doing? What are you doing with yourself? Anyway, don't get me started on the DVD release. The original disc, while loaded with extra features and ghost lore, it's long since gone out of print. No Blu-ray, no remaster, nothing. Fuck all. This film is treated like an embarrassment when it should be treated like the Mona Lisa's fucking angry cousin. It's not neglect, it's active sabotage. And yet, despite it all, 13 Ghosts has endured. Like the haunted house it depicts, it remains standing, cursed, bloodstained, and beautiful. Over the years, fans have rallied around it. Online forums dissect the ghost lore. YouTube essays that are not quite as good as this one whisper lovingly about its aesthetic. TikTok thirst traps are made for the Jackal, which raises several ethical questions, but hey, you do you, TikTok. I don't fucking pretend to understand what's going on over there. A generation of horror fans who were traumatised by this film at age 13 are now adults, screaming into the algorithm's face and holding each of its shoulders as it shakes and going, "Where is my sequel?" And yet, where is the fucking sequel? Why hasn't it got a sequel? It had all the ingredients: a unique ghost mythology, a world that begged to be explored, a fan base ready to consume it, and visuals that slapped harder than most fucking CGI does today. Hollywood has rebooted everything from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Pet Sematary to The Grudge multiple fucking times, and yet this gothic glass menagerie sits untouched. Where's the franchise? Where's the streaming prequel about Cyrus Kritikos building the house with cursed materials harvested from ancient tombs and Etsy? Where's the Disney Plus style anthology series that gives us an origin story for each of the ghosts? Where is the A24 produced remake where everything's slow and sad and everyone cries while staring at the Latin etchings? I'll tell you where it is. Fucking nowhere. That's where. Because if you consume the news, even badly, you can see that all around you, we, as a society, have failed. We have abandoned the true icons. We've let the hammer rust. We've left the Torn Prince swinging his bat in purgatory. And we've forced Matthew Lillard to age like a fine, twitchy wine, forced to haunt the Five Nights at Freddy's films, and be fucking shanghaied once again into a fucking Scream prequel. Do you know what I mean? He's going to show up in Scream again, so why can't they do this again? Anyway, it's not the 19% Rotten Tomatoes score that really hurts. It's not the way critics laughed this movie off like it was some early 2000s Hot Topic fever dream. No. What hurts was the potential. Because 13 Ghosts wasn't just a movie. It was a seed of an entire cinematic universe. One with ghosts, lore, blood magic, interdimensional architecture, and Matthew Lillard. And yet, nothing. No sequel, no remake, not even a cheap streaming miniseries dumped on Tubi. And for what? For what? Because it was too weird, too ambitious, too committed to its batshit insane aesthetic. I mean, I'll take that over another fucking Blumhouse hallway jump scare any day of the fucking week. So fine. If Hollywood won't do it, I will. Here are some films and TV shows we should have gotten, and we could still get. Hand me the fucking keys and hear me out. Listen. 13 Ghosts. Set 20 years after the events of the original film, the house has been rebuilt. Because of course it fucking has. This time it's disguised as a luxury Airbnb for influencers. A cast of attractive idiots, armed with ring lights and ego, they will unknowingly activate the ghost machine again. The ghosts, now angrier, more pissed off than ever after being captured again and ignored for 20 years, return to terrorise them one by one in increasingly theatrical ways. Shaggy comes back as a tortured ghost mentor. Right? Think Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right? Shaggy-Wan Kenobi. He warns the new crew about the Black Zodiac. He will deliver vague exposition and then get everyone killed. Right? Anyway, the film will end on a cliffhanger, naturally. The eye of hell will open. They will fail in their task of stopping the ghosts. We will see it play out. Eye of hell opens, cut to black, cue fucking Memberberry new metal music, like a Limp Bizkit song or something. Another idea is the Black Zodiac. This would be like a HBO series. I'm thinking HBO for this series, the Black Zodiac. Each episode could tell the origin. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. Each series we could dedicate a whole series to each of the ghosts. So that's 13 years. 13 years we could get out of this. Like, just give me the fucking keys. Anyway, each season will tell the origin story of one of the ghosts of the Black Zodiac. Think American Horror Story meets Creepshow. So for seasons, you could have The Angry Princess. That could be a whole season of bleak, neon-lit psychological horror about the beauty industry, about cosmetic surgery addiction, the fashion industry's descent into madness. Fuck it, you could even get Nicholas Winding Refn to direct it. Why not? Because he already made that movie. The movie that I just described is called The Neon Demon by Nicholas Winding Refn, and it's very fucking good. But that sort of aesthetic over a whole season about the Angry Princess. The Hammer, I said it's basically Candyman, so that means you could have a gritty, racially charged western, like revenge tale that ends with the dude getting spiked like horrendously, but he's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? You can feel the emotion. The Torn Prince is basically like a prequel to Grease, right? A whole season. It ends with a high-speed death car chase and blood-stained jackets, and do you know what I mean? Like, anyway, you could then do a Christmas special with the Great Child and the Dire Mother. Think like a filthy Home Alone. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, you're fucking welcome. One that I'm very excited about would be a prequel film called Architect of the Damned. This would be, remember fucking Murray Abraham played Cyrus Kritikos. We could do, obviously fucking Murray Abraham is a bit too old now, but he was aiming for Shakespeare in the original, but he landed on like cult leader aesthetic, so we could go back and tell his story with a different actor, a younger actor. How does one even design a house that traps ghosts? Do you know what I mean? Who taught him Latin death magic? Why is he dressed like a Victorian vampire who runs a fucking hedge fund? Do you know what I mean? All these questions would be answered. This movie would be equal parts architectural horror, occult mystery, like think The Ninth Gate, and real estate satire thrown in there. Picture him travelling the globe, stealing cursed artifacts, coercing the souls of the dead, bribing contractors to install invisible death gears. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's great shit. The last scene could be after like a big set piece where they have captured the Jackal. He's all bloodied and cleaning himself up as the Jackal is being contained behind him, and then off screen we hear Matthew Lillard's voice say, "We have located the Juggernaut." And then he looks up like fucking Norman Bates and just smiles. That would lead directly into the original 13 Ghosts film, right? Anyway, then you could then do a sequel to 13, then you could remake 13 Ghosts. You're fucking welcome. 13 Ghosts Requiem. This would be a legacy sequel. Arthur's children have now grown and have children of their own. They could be alcoholic, angry, they could be in therapy, and they decide to return to the site of their childhood trauma, except the house is gone. Or is it? It turns out that Cyrus, their uncle, had a backup machine. Because of course he did, because he's fucking basically supernatural Elon Musk. That is his whole shtick. This one would be a blend of psychological horror and action. Think The Conjuring meets Final Destination, but with better lighting and just generally better, and more industrial screeching noises. The ghosts are loose, the house is moving. It's a caravan, don't ask, just fucking go with it. No one is safe. And then finally my last idea is 13 Ghosts the musical. This is where you're probably expecting me to like chuckle to myself and go, nah, I'm joking. I'm not fucking joking. I'm not. Picture it. A live Broadway production, right? Each ghost gets their own power ballad. The Hammer's song, his song could just be like 3 minutes of heavy metal percussion and primal screams. The Angry Princess could do like a sultry burlesque number with knives and blood. The torso would just be a contortionist in a skin suit, as it was in the fucking movie, because why not? Cyrus could get a big grand villain solo, like the eye must open. Do you know what I mean? And it could end in like an explosion of Latin chants, like it is in the movie. The spells, the creepy spells that are chat. The finale, all 13 ghosts would come out and they'd unite on stage. We are the ghosts. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. Whatever. Standing over it. By the way, I am happy to accept my Oscars and Tony Awards over remotely. I'm happy to accept them by post and give the speech remotely. My point is, don't tell me this movie had nowhere to go. It had fucking everywhere to go. It had spin-offs, prequels, crossovers, merchandising, haunted house attract. This is what I could still do for you, Hollywood. Just fucking hit me up. I'm free. I've got time. We could do like the Jackal could be a Funko Pop. Do you know what I mean? Instead, what have we got? You've got fuck all, shame, silence. Hollywood, you have rebooted Ghostbusters twice. You've fucking made 11 Saw films. The Nun has 2 films where all she does is walk around corridors looking damp. Meanwhile, 13 Ghosts, a film with lore, visuals, and 13 instantly recognizable horror archetypes is just left to die. But like Britney Spears before me, I still believe in a world of recycled franchises and safe studio pitches. 13 Ghosts remains a beautiful, chaotic outlier, and it deserves more. We deserve more. It's time to resurrect it, to honour it, to demand justice for the juggernaut, to fucking... I'm too lazy to start the petition, so someone else do it. I'm sure there already is there. Do you know what I mean? I'm too fucking lazy to even check and see if there is a petition, which I'm sure there is. Anyway, by the way, mark the date and time. I forgot to mention earlier for those ideas that I gave. Mark the calendar. Intellectual property of one Jim Reaper. Anyway, deep down, I believe that those 12 ghosts are still out there. And they are pissed.